political season?
Because it's not popular. I mean, desegregation was really hard. We have to understand we had segregation because it benefited the majority of the population. And so to undo it means the majority that benefited from it has to now give up something. None of us willingly want to give up anything that privileges us.
But explain, we still have segregation? I thought we went through desegregation. Explain to me how you see segregation today. And I'm not hanging out around schools. I'm not allowed to. It's not a legal thing. For my own soul, you know, because learning takes place there.
Of course.
I'm against that.
Of course.
But what does segregation look like in 2017?
What it looks like are large numbers of Black and Latino children are attending schools where nearly every child is poor and every child is Black and Latino. These schools are under-resourced, just like in 1953 before Brown v. Board of Education. They're the least likely to have a qualified teacher, the least likely to have advanced curriculum. They're in worse facilities, they have worse technology. So segregation today looks much like it did before.
Now, give me some good news. In what ways are things improving for African American students? Is there any bright side here? What do you see?
No one has me on for good news.
Jeez, we should have done a pre-interview. I was like, come on. I don't know. Do you know how to make apple pie? You're a sports fan? Tell me you like the Houston Astros?
No, I mean, there's clearly been progress, and in the places where we actually tried to integrate, we saw huge gains for Black children, not just in terms of test scores, but it actually changed their whole lives. They're less likely to grow up in poverty. They were more likely to graduate from college to live in integrated neighborhoods and live longer. So where we tried, there's been a lot of progress. It's just in so many places, including New York City, we haven't done a very good job of integrating our schools.
Where have we tried?
Mostly in the South, and largely because the South was forced to desegregate by court order. Most of the North was able to avoid court order, and so therefore has avoided desegregation.
Now, this is kind of an issue that has somewhat evolved and then devolved, as you see it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
That there was segregation, there was desegregation, and then America felt like, oh, we figured the segregation thing out, so it doesn't need to be legally imposed, so now it's a free-for-all.
Right, so basically...
Is the next step to take a step forward by stepping back yet again to re-step? You should explain this.
I mean, what we need to do is to continue the work that we started in the 1960s, where we started to see really rapid desegregation. That peaked in 1988 when I was about 12 years old. And we've been going backwards since then. So we could have more desegregation, but there's really just not political will. I mean, Democrats don't seem to want to work for it, and neither do Republicans.
Now, you must be excited about Betsy DeVos being in charge right now.
Super excited.
You a big DeVos head?
You know, I mean, I cover education, so it's an interesting time.
Yeah, so what do you think of Betsy DeVos? How is she different? How have things changed under her?
Well, it's unusual to have someone over public schools who doesn't really believe in public schools. I'd say that's probably a pretty big difference.
I don't believe in the media, and I'm here on TV.
Exactly. Precisely. Apparently, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have experience to run certain government administrations. So.
Oh, it's the Wild West. What a fun time.
It's amazing.
Tell me something I already know.
Tell you something that you already know?
Yeah.
Schools are segregated because that's what the majority of white Americans want.
You put it back on me again.
That's what I do best.
I see what you're doing. Journalist Nikole Hannah-Jones. You can read her work in the New York Times Magazine. She also co-founded the Ida B. Wells Society with the goal of increasing the number of reporters and editors of color in investigative reporting. The fight continues.